So it's me, Dave Crane. Welcome back, Dave. Thank you so much. That's very kind. Did you miss me? You didn't miss me. You did miss me. That's good. Thank you. And it's amazing how many people have connected with me. Make sure you do as well. Connect with me. Subscribe on YouTube and connect with me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and Periscope, and Instagram as well. Make sure you connect with me on Instagram. Love Instagram. So if you connect with me, whenever I broadcast, you get to find out the latest posts and you get all these latest insights. If you don't connect with me, you don't get nothing. And you're going, where's he gone? My life is really empty. Oh, Netflix. Much more interesting than Dave. Hopefully not. Okay, well it is, because there's loads of stuff. But you enjoyed the show as well, don't you? Yes, Dave. You heard me. Yes, Dave. Wow, who said that? Amazing. Must be really into it. Okay then, so I want to share with you the speaker's business model. In that, there's a couple of things which I find fascinating, and so let's get straight into it. Get familiar with creating fresh and relevant content, number one. Why is this so important? Well, very simply because you're not a speaker anymore. You are now a curator of industry insights. So you're speaking about something as a test model, but you also want to be working with those organizations as a consultant on an ongoing basis, which is why you should become a speaker in your niche, rather than just be a general speaker and a host, which is useful as well. And I host a lot of different events for different audiences, but if you really want to be a regular speaker, you should really stay in what you do very well. So that means get familiar with everything that's coming up, new insights, create and generate fresh content, and get it out there. People must see you on social media. So when it comes to selecting somebody, we say, oh, that person, really good, let's go on to them. Okay, number two, make sure you're connected to a network that will help you. What do you mean a network that's going to help you? Well, you need to make sure that you know people in the industry, people know who you are. You network as much as you can do, even during lockdown. You can do it on Zoom or through different social media platforms, or maybe have a virtual coffee with people, explore what you could do together, and so on. And they people speak to each other. That your network is ultimately what's going to get you more gigs. And if you've had a challenge like many people have right now about wondering where does my next bit of rent come from or how I'm going to pay bills, then speaking is an additional extra, because it goes with coaching and creating platforms and creating content and creating courses that allows you then to be able to add that extra. If you can't speak, then it's a really useful way without losing your job or losing your direction to be able to create relationships with a market or an industry that wants to do more business with you. Does that make sense? Yes, Dave. Fantastic. Okay, number three, pick a fight with something that will resonate with others. Right, that sounds aggressive. It is actually. Pick on an area where you think specifically you can get most traction. For me, it's the educational system. Now, don't get me wrong. I love my daughter's parents. I'm my daughter's parents. My teachers, my daughter's teachers. I love the school. I think they're great. I'm not picking on educators as such. Teachers do an incredible job, a really difficult job, and we should be compensated better. But here's the point. The point is the education system doesn't work, and it's been stuffed for a very long time. Whoa, Dave. Whoa, mama. Why did you say that? Well, because it's true. Let me explain. We are set to believe that if we go to school, work really hard and do the stuff that the teacher tells us, we'll get great grades, get a great job, and we'll be set for life. Get married, have kids, blah, 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 or some version of that. Do you know where that idea comes from and nobody's turned around and called, excuse me, it doesn't work? That comes from 200-300 years ago when we were in an agricultural age. That's farming. And what we did was we're in an agricultural age where we got people from the farms and the fields into factories. How did you do that? We created a series of schools for them. These schools were slightly different from everything that we experienced because we weren't doing that before. So let's get everybody at the same age. It's a good start. Get them to sit on seats, okay? And let's get them to do the same work. And we'll cherry pick the people who are best and put them up into the higher levels. They can get a good job, and other ones who are going and don't really know, we'll keep them going and give them a job where really works. So therefore they can do lower jobs. That's kind of how it used to work. But that business model doesn't work for lots of different reasons. First of all, look at the friends that you have. Are all your friends super smart? All your friends the same age? All your friends good at the same stuff? No, probably not. Anyway, you've probably got lots of different friends that you connect with of different ages. So that categorizing doesn't make so much sense. Maybe at the early stages it does, as an easy way to get people in. But look at the school business model. One of the best school systems in the world is like in Sweden, Finland, Scandinavia. They start their kids around about 6 or 7. No homework until after that anyway. But certainly not even school. You're allowed to run about and just drive your car, baby car. But stuff like that. So then we've got to look at the other elements, which is a promise, a social contract. You go to school, you get a job, and then you live happily ever after. Right now, with the business model we've got for lockdown and where it's going from now on, unless you are specifically in coding or you're in the digitized business, your job and your degree, which has cost you a fortune and will cost you a fortune to pay off the bills later on, may not get you anything. In fact, the job you've worked hard for may not get you anything. And the third part of it is think about the job of being a leader or a boss. Traditionally, your company's mission is to make money for the shareholders over short boosts of time. Go, the evidence is here, we're doing really well, and all the staff lead towards that, and the boss goes, wait, here we go. Then it changed. The business model now for any organization, first of all, it's leveled, it's flat. So there's less people working in the office, more people working out. You still answer to a boss, but really, you should be working towards an ecosystem, like a garden of different things going on that all link to each other and support each other, not just the top-down business model. So where does that start? Starts with education. Why am I railing against it? Because most people have experienced a bad version of it, but don't know how to deal with it. Most people don't know how to deal with finances. They don't know how to run their own business. They don't know how to communicate properly with other people, and they don't know how to speak. These are really exciting things about running your own business and doing all these things. You think we should have been taught it at school? No, because the system didn't tell us. But the odds are my gorgeous daughter, 10-year-old now, Maya, she's already got almost 1,000 followers on YouTube. She's got people who watch her videos, 70,000 views of her videos. Do you think that there's a very good chance she might be monetizing that in some way, shape or form in her teens at some point? As a side hustle or just a part-time job of some description. Yeah, and if she's doing what she loves from the very beginning, why would I push her into doing a career that doesn't interest her if she's already making money from that? And that kind of area is what most young people know. If you get Generation Alpha, which are the ones up to about 10 years old and below, they're all born into iPads. They're all interconnecting. They're smarter and more savvy than we are. So why are we crowbarring them into a world that doesn't exist anymore when they're already more successful than we are at our age in the world that they're playing in? See what I mean there? Just kind of get involved in it. Oh, Dave. Oh, mama, you kicked off there a bit. I know I didn't. Stop calling me mama. Right, so that's my thoughts. Pick a fight with something that you really want to interact with. And I probably should have done that close up so you can see the sweat and the drool coming from my mouth as I was getting aggressive about it. But I'm glad I didn't, because it was kind of ugly to look at. And you'd probably be able to see yourself in a reflection of my glasses, which is kind of freaky too. Build a tribe, nurture your tribe, and connect with your tribe and start amazing conversations. Why is a tribe so important? Well, the more that you have of a tribe, the more connection you can make with people who really want to be working with you. People who are like-minded. If you've got a tribe, that means you've got people who are really into the same kind of thing and will support you. Those conversations are simple because they're industry conversations and people want to connect. You can even get people in the tribe who are rivals to you in what you do. Why? Because they're closer to you than people who are not inside your tribe. But that's a really good business model for creating success. Does that make sense? I hope so. If not, this is going to go on for a very long time without any understanding. Number 5, take possession of a niche or an industry and work out what your message is according to that. So depending on what industry you're in, it makes a lot of sense to turn around and say, right, this is my niche. I'm a speaker. I work in speaking. Now I do other things as well. I'm a hypnotherapist, I'm a life coach, business coach, broadcaster, blah, blah, blah. But I'm staying in with this. I speak around the world as a virtual keynote and also as a live speaker, and I teach people to be virtual keynotes and live speakers, and I teach them to do their branding on top of it so they get lots of gigs. Very useful to be podcasting and all the rest of it. That's what I teach people how to do. So I stick within that lane. If I don't do that, people won't know how to work with me. Oh, what's Dave? Dave does a number of different things. Oh, yeah. Well, let's get somebody who just concentrates on doing one thing because they're going to be better than he is at doing all those different things. And you might find that. Now, it's called having a portfolio lifestyle when you've got lots of different skill sets. And there's nothing wrong with having them. But if you really want to show higher in Google, pick on one thing, make a website about it, and advertise yourself as that. And it does mean you put things to one side. But you know what? That's the way people work on it. It's unfair, but it's just the way it works. Number 6, stay within your lane. Same thing. By staying within your lane, it means staying within your focus point. People will find you easily. Now, what happens as well when you've created your tribe around you and your marketing and your brand around you and you stay in this lane is you start being seen as the very best in your industry at doing it. And people will gravitate towards you and hire you and call you because clearly you know what you're talking about. If you don't do that, you run a real risk that other people will sneak in front of you because that's what they do. They do it better than you. And you'll never be called as a speaker, or you'll be called as a speaker as a favor. And at the end of the day, speaking is a great way to make a nice bit of cash out of doing it as a 0.5 job. So you got 1.5, or as your full-time job, but consulting and coaching as well. There's a number of things I can share with you, and we will do more, but this is a new speaker's business model right now because you've got to manage your time carefully. Right now, I'm getting called all the time to do podcasts, videocasts. I'm being asked to be on shows, everything. Now, I love it. It's great marketing. It's great to connect with people. But at the same time, I've got to deliver content. I've got a load of coaching clients. I've got a load of deliverables I've got to do. So at the same time, you've got to balance it because what you do is you speak. That's your job. People think it's a freebie. It's not a freebie. It's a freebie if you're not an expert in speaking, but you also have to be an expert in your craft to justify it nowadays because you can't use the business model of a room full of people as a way that people should be paying you. That doesn't work anymore. They're paying you for what the effect is on the people that you're connected to. And the odds are it's going to be a much smaller group of people that you're connected to. Does that make sense? Yes, Dave. Fantastic. Right. Get virtual, get online, get out of there. Get out there. There's 7+ billion people around the world who need to connect with you. There's, I don't know how many hundreds of millions of businesses who could hire your services. Why are you only thinking about stuff that you can drive towards and work in that business, in that office? Get virtual and get online. Get your branding out there. Get people knowing who you are. Do not spend time trying to tell everybody what you used to do. Nobody cares. One question matters. What can you do for me now? If you can't answer that, they have no interest in talking to you. So if you can't answer it, you need to work on what it is because they can Google. They found you through Google. They're going to find somebody else just as interesting, maybe more. So now, number 9, become a consultant and a speaker. What does that mean? Well, the two kind of live together, but before you were a speaker and that was you as an expert, or you're a consultant and you just did your thing. If you're a consultant first, but speaks about it as well, then that means that you're looking at a long-term relationship with an organization. Supposing your space is talking about tech, the latest tech that's coming up, the latest stuff. You could do one presentation and update it every couple of weeks about the new stuff that you'd recommend. But if you do it right, you're talking about it, you're living it, you're breathing it, you're sharing all the latest stuff on a weekly basis with people. So any one person turns around and says, right, we need you to get to speak to our organization. Come and tell everybody how it works. And also, you can sell them the ongoing consultation about stuff that's coming up next. Will people pay for that? Yeah, they will. Why? Because they paid for your first time round. They can have you on a retainer. They can have you once in a blue moon coming in. But you can do it with a number of different companies at the same time. Does that sound good? Good, it should. In fact, each of these deserves that noise. For the business models I'm sharing with you. Number 9, there we are, become a consultant speaker. And number 10, which is last but not kind of least, it's kind of cool as well, is this one. Number 10 is something that everybody needs to consider. Sell retainers. You are now potentially working with everybody around the world. Why should you just worry about location? Mentor people and get your courses right as well. So you're mentoring, you're running courses, and you're creating relationships with everybody. That's a new business model. It's not just going out and speaking. That's not enough anymore. The more you can do of relationship building, the more effective you will be with the people who want to hire your services, and they will then tell other people about it. And number 11, become a laptop ninja. Ha ha! What's a laptop ninja, Dave? Well, get used to doing it. Right now, this show, I'm driving on my laptop. On my own. I've got a couple of speakers. I've got a microphone here. See? And I've also got a couple of cameras. And I've got a number of different things that allow me lights all around the place. I've converted my office. So being a laptop ninja doesn't mean that I'm suddenly jumping in through the roof and going, ha ha ha. It just means I understand my way around a laptop the way that you'd understand driving up roads and stuff like that. You need to get familiar with what a laptop is. If you just switch it on and hope everything's there and you want to be a speaker, you've missed the point. And don't worry if you're not a techie. I'm not a techie either. But one thing I do understand is if you want to be paid and you want to be out there and be relevant, you really have to change your game, get out there and show the world that you are worth hiring because you know your stuff. Does that make sense? Cool. That is the new business model for being a speaker. I thank you.